So we are in record. We're rolling. And anybody joining us now, thank you for joining us. This is our little pre-show banter that we do prior to our actual recording of our radio show for
Banter.
840 WHAS. So hopefully everybody's having a good day. Good,
Yes,
yeah?
sir. Yes, sir.
Good. Did I tell you about 3 months ago, I got a quick call from somebody who was angry at me. Said, I heard you, this is when COVID vaccines were still just first rolling out. I heard you got your vaccine. Why? What'd you do? I said, huh? She said, yeah. And she then calls back and says, I apologize. It was Bob Dominy. So just because.
Ouch.
Bob Dominy?
Bob
Dominy. I don't know.
Sports.
You don't know Bob Dominy.
Yeah,
I'm not showing my age.
Yeah, you are.
A little bit.
Drastic.
A little bit.
That's okay.
All right. So that's a little pre-show banter for you. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Now, one of the things we got coming up on the show today, and I'll start rolling. Oh, why new home prices are at least 24K higher than last year. That's coming up a little later. Okay. All right, let's roll it. Here we go. Stand by, everybody. And those of you at home, just relax. Here we go. News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, with you till the top of the hour. With us, some of our great staff and group of people who we work with on a regular basis. First, it's Chuck Crosby of the Crosby Law Offices at 499-6360. Good morning to you, Chuck. You look dapper.
Morning,
good to have you here. Also, our friend as well, Brian Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. They come in as a team. They have vets on staff. These are the guys who are doing the work. And he's the #1 home team inspection service in the country for the 6th year in a row, which is pretty good. And his number, Brad's number, is 844-411-TEAM. Brad, good to have you here.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Glad to be here.
Yep. And my son, Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and so much more. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Quick kudos go out to Brad and his team. I was at a home this past week that had hired a home team for a pre-inspection. We don't talk about that a whole lot, but they found a couple of issues that were fixed easily, but at least they didn't have to come up in a home inspection. The home's going to go on the market for a pretty good price in the next week or so. So, Greg, you'll get an invite to shoot that. And
Sure.
Greta, kudos to you for your doing a great job.
No, thanks for letting us participate in that one.
Yep. All right, moving on here. So just FYI, information that you can use. And Chuck, you may not know this. Brad, you may not know. I don't think Greg knows this. Last week of February, the numbers are out. 186 new listings, but 260 homes sold.
Yeah.
Which tells you what the problem is. We're selling more than we're putting on the market. Right now, there, as of about a week ago or so, maybe midweek of this past week, 1,059 listings on the MLS multiple listing service in the Louisville area, and the pendings were 2,440. That's total pendings, actives under contract. The key thing is last year, we had 1,961 homes under contract through the beginning of March of 2020. Yeah. This year, 2,218 under contract. That's up 13.1%. Yeah. So you can see what's happening. Average days on market last year, 55 days, now 29 days.
That's huge.
Average inventory numbers, 0.67 for a monthly, which
that's just ridiculous.
Anything under 5 is considered a seller's market. So you can understand why we're constantly harping on, hey, we need homes to sell, and Brad needs homes to inspect, and Chuck needs homes to close. So it's this cycle, but we need everybody to participate. Talk to us. If you have a question, you're thinking you want to sell, we'd love to talk to you. Let's talk about reverse contingency. Just call me, reverse contingency. You can reach me again, Bob Sokoler, 376-5483. Reverse contingency. This may solve what's ailing you in terms of putting your I hit my button here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I heard a little bit of feedback come through. It looks like it changed up.
It did. Hang on, I got to switch.
There you go. Now you're back.
Okay, back yet. So where rubber? Why I need to get a new laptop.
Uh-oh. Already?
Okay, back to you. All right. Forgot where we were, but we'll
Reverse contingency. Call you, ask you about
call
it.
me, ask me about reverse contingency 3765483. All right. Some more quick information, then we're going to get to some questions that are coming in. And so home price forecasts. Chuck, Brad, Greg, we all own homes. So what do we expect in 2021? Well, just being a homeowner in 2020, you would have accumulated on average around $24,000 in housing wealth,
It's like a stock bubble. It's huge.
Yeah.
They're huge numbers.
right? That's 2020. 2021, now that's on average around the country. That may be a little less here, but
That's
pretty good. So according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, they're expecting home prices to increase 10.3%. And it goes down from there. National Association of Realtors
That's still
increase 6.6%. Now remember, we're dealing with rising interest rates. They
Well,
both
wait,
went-
I heard something amazing on MSNBC the other day where they were talking about how everyone's expecting them to go up. And this guy is taking the other bet. He just wrote this book. I don't remember his name, MSNBC.
Yeah.
Saying that interest rates are actually going to go back down and could go into the negatives. Now, don't mark
don't
me
see
on
that.
this, but
That's
what
old.
he's talking about M2 money going back and how the Fed is manipulating but still buying bonds, but yet the rates are still going up right now. So again, I am not in finance. This is probably an episode for one of our lenders to come on and talk about, but just put it out there.
Okay. Chuck, are you following anything with the risk of eviction because of forbearance?
Yeah, what's going on? I thought the moratorium ended just recently on the end of February due to there's no new bill passed.
I believe there was the CDC put something out that, of course, also kicks in, but it's still non-payment. It's doable, but you got to jump through a ton of hoops. There are also on the good side, plenty of governmental help agencies for that sort of thing. So I'm seeing people who would otherwise evict are actually getting some money. And of course, as a landlord, they're doing the smart thing and taking what's available when it's available and moving on.
A report came out that 11 million families are at risk of eviction. That's according to the CFPB.
Yeah.
That includes both renters and homeowners. So we're keeping an eye on that.
I can only talk about what I see in our neck of the woods, though.
I got it. I got that. Next federal relief bill, which was passed not yesterday, but the week before by the House Democrats, would reinstate many of the provisions that kept cash-strapped families housed. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right, let's move on to some questions. Again, we're doing our shows via COVID. And oh, by the way, if you want to see what sellers are saying about us, go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. All one word, LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. You want to see what their reviews about us, LouisvilleZillow.com. Also, if you want to see a replay of this video that we're shooting while we're doing our Zoom meeting, which is recording for our radio show, go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. Again, that's LouisvilleAnswers.com. All right, we'll start with Chuck. So questions that come in, and because we're doing this on a COVID basis show, everybody's from either their home or their house, depending upon where they are this early in the morning. And we record. We're taking your questions in the form of an email. I'll read the emails out. Normally, if we were in the studio, we would roll your questions in via the phone. But nonetheless, we're doing it this way, and you can email me your questions, Bob, at WeSellLouisville.com. All right, so this is coming from Corey, who also happens to be my brother's name, but it's not my brother. He says, is it true? He's asking, is it true that between 1942 and 1958, I guess this is for Brad, some sewer lines were made out of paper mache connecting the house to main sewers? Do you ever hear about that?
Yeah, that's true. They had a pitch covered paper mache piping. It was somewhat common in parts of the country. New York was a big area where it was used. They used it in high-rise buildings predominantly. There's a name for the product itself, but I don't know that I've seen any of that around here.
Pinata plumbing.
No,
Yeah.
pinata pipe. No, I don't think so. But it's not. If it was around here, and I'm sure that there's probably property or two in the Kentuckiana area with it. But yeah, it was actually a product that was sold by a national pipe company. It's more durable than it sounds, but I understand that it is problematic
That's where my
anytime that
brain went.
there's pressure applied to it. That's why it was primarily used on for sewer and discharge, and where there's no pressure up against it, where things were just in free fall in a high-rise building.
Yeah, but paper mache, that would be,
Mhm.
that would not be something I would pick, but
Yeah.
It's modern
for
day
you.
fiberglass is kind
Yeah,
of just a
yeah,
stronger
yeah.
version of what they were trying to pull off.
Maybe. Moving on. We got a lot of questions. This is for Chuck. Christy is asking, I'm worried about buying a new home. What if something went wrong with the house at the time of purchase? And someone, maybe the builder, the builder's agent, the inspector, could have or should have told Christy about it beforehand, but didn't. Could that happen? What could Christy do? Chuck Crosby.
Okay. Well, if it's read that first part again, because that sounds like they're talking about at day of closing.
Was she's talking about, I'm worried about buying a new home. What if something was wrong with the house at the time of purchase? So I think, yeah, it's a new home for her. Maybe it's resale, but it's on the closing date. So what would you recommend to Christy and anybody else who has questions
But
about
always
purchase?
get an inspection done. It's always good to throw a couple more pairs of eyes onto it. But if what I'm gathering is something happens the day of closing, like a pipe bursts or something of that nature, well, that's why you do a walkthrough right before closing. That way, when you leave the walkthrough, you go right to the closing table and then go from there.
If you, Christy, if you're concerned about it, Chuck is dead on and correct about what you need to be thinking about. Get the walkthrough, get the home team is the one we use. You can use anybody you want for home inspections, but it's another set of eyes. You're absolutely
Yeah,
right.
another set of eyes can't hurt.
And if you are a renter thinking about buying your first home or about moving up, think about this. A new study is just out, folks. Researchers analyzed the monthly cost of buying a medium priced home to the price of renting a medium priced rental, 2 to 4 bedrooms in the largest 50 markets in January, this past January. You ready for this? This was kind of a shocker. So, the number one place where you can get your biggest bang for your buck out of the 50 that were surveyed was Cleveland, Elwira, Ohio. So, it's Cleveland. Basically, that is the best deal in town. But coming in at number 14 of 50 cities that were analyzed was Louisville, Kentucky. So if you're thinking about buying, Louisville, still considered a really good bargain.
And I like that because it's a stable number. It's not like number 1 or number 50. We're kind of, if it 14, 15 means we're on the value side, but not too valuable to where we're going to just have a boom and more of a steady growth. I like that.
The reason Cleveland won was because
because
income.
they're
Well, it's Cleveland.
well,
19% of the income that you're earning goes to buying a house or renting. And in Louisville, it's 20%. So it's pretty close indeed. So I just thought I found that rather interesting. Back to the questions that we get coming in. Brad, for you, this is Barry. He's asking, what's the most important number one defect that home inspectors find during the inspection process? I got a feeling Barry's a seller and he wants to hedge his bets by finding out what he should be looking at. What's the number one?
So here's what I'll suggest to anyone who's considering selling their home. Please get your HVAC system serviced. That's number one. Second thing I would advise is get a roofer out to take a look at the roof, take care of any minor issues that you have. If you have any water at all coming into the home, you got to take care of that issue. Clean your gutters out, put your downspouts farther away from the foundation. Anything you can do to make sure that that house is tight and dry. Look, I don't know that I'd recommend having an electrician come in and look at the panel, but that's certainly an area where home inspectors often find defects, where homeowners or handymen went in and did some not non-standard type of modifications to the panels. I think those are a lot of the big ones that you'd want to look at before You put the house on the market. If you're on a crawl space and you haven't been in your crawl space, it's
Buckle up.
yeah, go in and look at it. That's where you could potentially find some terrifying things. Anything from, broken drain lines to animal carcasses, to water pooling up underneath the foundation. Certainly suggest looking in a crawl space before you put the house on the market.
Pretty good there. All right. Chuck, Sicily has an interesting problem. She's selling her house. The buyers want an enormous amount of things repaired based on a home inspection. She wants to have the plumbing issues put together, fixed by a handyman. The buyer side is insisting a plumber do the work, but Sicily is saying, I can't afford a plumber to do everything, but a handyman's a lot cheaper. Sorry, plumbers. So, what protections can she have or offer the buyer in the event that she forces her hand and says, take the handyman or not? Any suggestions? I've
Any
got one, but let's
protections?
any protections. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that there are protections. If you're using a handyman and not a professional, uh, when you take on a task um, that should be done by a professional, say, you're going to be held to the standard of that professional. I mean, that's kind of bothers me a little bit.
Mhm.
So if she's going to say, hey, it's a handyman or nothing, well, then the liability switches over to the buyers if they accept it. I would get something saying that they agree that handyman can take care of this, but I wouldn't leave that unpapered. And certainly, if I were the buyer, I'd want to see a handyman. I mean, a professional.
A professional.
Take care of it.
So
Yeah,
let me ask you, in my mind, I think, what if Sicily said, listen, you can have, let me do a handyman, but you can have a plumber at your cost come in and inspect any of the work that the
yeah,
handyman.
certainly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's certainly a way around it. But if I were the
Yeah.
seller
Yeah.
and all I could do was a handyman and the other side agreed to it, I would want something in writing saying they agreed to it.
Oh, that's
Uh,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm going to be held, there's going to be the standard of a plumber for a handyman, and that's just not good. There are other ways around it. A lot of times you can't do something on a settlement statement where I say I'm going to give you $1,000 to get a plumber. But if the work is done and there's a bill to be paid, then that can also be done at closing. Of course, these days, the question is always, is this actually going to close?
Mhm.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, we're seeing problems with that as well. I
Yeah.
hear that.
So
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, why are new home prices jumping off the charts here? In some areas, at least $24,000 higher than last year. We'll talk about that.
It's a
Here
bubble.
with us, what's that, Greg?
It's a bubble.
Yeah. Here's Chuck Crosby's with us. Crosby Law Office, 499-6360. Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service, 844-411-TEAM. My son Gregor does our marketing and photography and so much more. And you can reach me as we continue to look for any home that, big or small. They can be $50,000. They can be $1 million, $2 million, $50,000. We do them all. You can reach me at 376-5483. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, the Louisville Real Estate Show. This is Bob Sokoler. Thank you, Barbara Corcoran, who's a friend and mentor. We appreciate that. We love seeing you on Shark Tank. Try to watch that almost every week now. Also, here with us, we've got Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service, 844-411-TEAM. Good to have you here as well. Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices, 499-6360. My son Gregor does our marketing and photography and so much more. I don't know how many of you caught it, but if we're desperately short of homes throughout not only Louisville, Southern Indiana, but much of the country. A lot of the reasons are the fact that builders have slowed down. A lot of the trades are not available anymore since 2008 through 2012. So there's a series of problems that we're all dealing with. But home prices have gone up for new construction. And number one, labor is there a problem right there, but lumber prices have recently hit record highs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pressing on the builders' budgets and increasing the cost to build a new home to create accessories such as decks, fences. Buyers and remodelers are feeling the price increases as well.
Yeah, builders are putting into their contracts their sliding scales that if the lumber goes above X, it's going to be a buyer paid cost because they can't guarantee some of these prices.
And that's scary. The average price of a new single family home increased approximately $24,000 from last year to this year. The National Association of Home Builders reporting the increase is due to more than 180% jump in the lumber. So that's key. That's the big problem. Lumber, though I've heard that it's going to come down. So that may be
We've seen it come down a little bit. One of the builders that we work with says it's coming down a little, but scarcity is an issue right now, and I think the market's playing on that, and I think everyone is. So we're going to see what our good people at the Fed can do to balance this out and help us come through this.
All right, we're moving on. And Chuck, I want to bring you in on this because this is unique and different. And I know we have a lot of agents listening to us, and I want the buyers and sellers to hear this. And Chuck, I want your opinion. And Brad, if you want to jump in, Greg as well, you're certainly welcome. So we're constantly looking for ways to increase the attractiveness of an offer from our buyer to a seller. In the past, it's a escalation clause with a cap, and I'm not going to go into details, but just know that that's one thing. A letter that's written to the family of the sellers, from the buyers, telling them how much they like the home. That's another question right now because people don't know whether that's going to stay a continual problem that it's being seen around the country. But we'll get into that another show. Then there are things like removing the contingency on inspections, which Chuck, Brad, I would suspect both of you say that's not necessarily a good idea.
No, but
not a good idea. But
it's
here's
a
where
risk.
we're going with this. Something new came up this week, and I heard about it, and I wanted to get a legal opinion. So let us say that Bill is putting an offer in on Jim's house. They're going in above list price,
Mm-hmm.
but Bill is also writing in the offer that if John accepts the offer in the next 3 hours, Bill will write John a check for $5,000 above and beyond what the sale price is.
Well, we know the long and short answer. Let's get Chuck's legal because we discussed this on our team meeting, and we were going back with an attorney there, and Bob said a key word that kind of makes it a trick question, but there's another thing you can do to make this.
Well,
and so
let's see what Chuck
Well,
says.
go ahead and repeat this again. So I'm buying a house from you,
right?
And
you're offering me an additional $5,000 as a check or cash at closing. If I accept your offer
within X time frame,
yeah.
Oh wow, you've got some loans where that's going to be a problem.
Yes,
definitely.
But where do you now? Let's just dive straight into it. So
yeah, go ahead.
If you write that outside of the contract now, no. So this is the key word. We're not writing it in the contract. This is just a side agreement.
Yeah.
Like you have a Corvette in the garage that I don't want to deal with the house. I'm just going to say, hey, I'll pay you $5,000 for that thing if you close within 3 hours.
Okay. All right. First off, intent. If you try and skirt an issue merely by some sort of verbal ledger domain, TV law does not apply here. If it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a damn duck.
We know. Yeah.
So the whole, oh, hey, I will buy this pen for $5,000 in the next few minutes.
Right.
Not going to fly. And if this is a government insured loan, I can tell you that the paperwork you sign at closing will make that a felony. Really horrible stuff. On most loans, you are skirting so close to that.
So let's take the money away. Let's see. I've seen this.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got a bottle of Pappy.
Yeah. No. We're talking anything of value.
Right.
Well, because a bottle of Pappy And then
Doesn't
for
make
those
it,
for
no, I'm
those of
saying
you who
this,
don't
I
know,
want the
okay,
clear line. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
just-
hold on.
Money, money is irrelevant. Anything of value is what they would be looking at.
okay, so we know that it is illegal for money to transfer hands
right. As far as the value in relation to the value of the home,
but
or
it's
affecting
from the
loan.
sellers to the buyers, because
No, it can also flow both ways.
it can. That's the question.
Yeah.
So it can
Yeah.
go both ways.
It
All
can go. Think about it this way: if I'm going to lend, and if this were a cash transaction,
Uh-huh.
go right ahead.
No big
Sure.
deal.
Yeah, no big deal. With a loan though, your ability to borrow, if this would be akin to saying, hey, I've got this debt out here and I'm going to hide it somehow.
Aha, the debt to income portion
Yeah,
of the ability to
there you go.
borrow.
Well, okay. So
And
we
Plus,
don't get,
plus you're signing,
Yeah.
think about it. You're signing, just read a settlement statement, the little
Sure.
blurb at the end of a HUD or whatever, not the CD, because the CD just says, I've seen this, not that I've approved this. But when you read through the paperwork, it says, this is the transaction that we're doing. And if you're trying to hide the transaction that you're actually doing, there's fraud there somewhere, or at least it smells like there's fraud.
it smells. Okay. So let me explain to all of our listeners why this is such an important issue, and even the ears of all agents who are listening
Mhm.
are very attentive right now and raised. So buyer and buyer agents are trying to find how to make their offer better than
In a
anybody's
competitive
else,
market, yeah.
because there's so few homes on the market.
Yeah.
And it is just a dog eat dog when a home goes on the market. I mentioned this last week that one of the homes went on the market, but it was a foreclosure. It was $80,000, well under value, 300 showings, 150 offers later. It's going to sell for double what it was listed for. Now, that's kind of a unique situation,
And
but
hopefully it's cash, because then it would be a moot point.
yeah,
Yeah.
but what's happening is there are so few homes. So that's why if you are thinking about selling a home right now, this is the perfect time. Don't wait until 3 months from now when the market heats up in general. But if you went now, you're on the market now. The big concern you may have is, well, where am I going to find my next home?
Mhm.
And it's legit. But what we're working with, and we've done this successfully several times already, it's called a reverse contingency, where you accept the offer, but it's contingent on you as the seller finding your next home. There's
Have
a
you
lot of-
actually done any of these deals,
Yeah,
Bob?
yeah.
Okay. How do the lenders look at that? Have you, on the buyer side, have you run
A
into
reverse
any-
contingency?
It doesn't get to them
They
until
won't see it because the contingency would be released before they hit,
right.
before it hits closing table.
This actually happened. We listed and sold my daughter Greg's sister Ashley's house, and buyer had put in an offer 17,000 over the list price. And when we delved a little deeper, and he offered a bottle of Pappy, that's where that bottle of Pappy was coming from.
Careful.
When we delved deeper, well, he offered it. He delved deeper into this thing. He had accepted a reverse contingency on the home that he was selling. So it was worth it to him to find his next home quickly, because he was getting premium dollars on the house that he was selling. So you see, this is where I'm going with all this. There's such a need for homes that all agents, everyone's trying to find what's the new way to get that home to.
Well, and this is why I love
buyer.
law, because we've talked to multiple attorneys on this, and we get different shades of an answer because the letter of the
everybody's
law.
different. Yeah.
If you want to pursue it, right? Because we go back to Chuck. It's like, if you want to pursue this and get money involved to do this, there are still people looking around to, like Bob's saying, to find the best ways to skirt the gray areas, to circumnavigate. That's how competitive it truly is.
Right.
And we're not saying that anything anybody's doing is truly illegal. What we're saying is, this is what's out there. Do you want to test the law? Do you want to go that route? It's happening.
We
just
don't want to
guidance.
test it. We don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
So
No, and that's why we go to Chuck for guidance, because we love him.
Yeah.
one
Don't
final
test
quick
the law.
Don't test the law. One final quick question for Brad, because I promised I would get this on today's show. Brad, Philip saw cracks in the basement of the home that he is buying, yet the home inspector said nothing. What if he doesn't trust the home inspection report? Suggestions.
Suggestion: call a foundation company and have them come out and take another look. If it's a vertical crack, that's very narrow, a hairline, it may just be a settlement crack. If it's a horizontal crack or a stair stepping type crack, that is potentially a bigger issue. But yeah, just talk to a foundation company. Any of them will come out and probably give a free opinion on that.
Yeah, some will come out for free, some will not. So call around,
Okay.
just get at least one opinion so you got a feeling of security. All right, we are out of time. My sincere thanks to Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices. And you can sit in on a closing with him. He does a great job. You can pick the closing attorney you want. Chuck's a great guy. 499-6360. Also, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service, 844-411-TEAM is his number. Thank you, guys. Thanks, son Greg, to marketing, photography, and so much more. And he's working on a couple of special projects and doing a great job. And you can reach me because, again, you've heard me say we were really looking for homes to sell. It's 502-376-5483. We're out of time. See you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS. All right. Boy, that went quick.
What you got? What you got?
We got a radio star.
Who we
Got a
got?
radio. She wants to be on the radio.
Sure.
I'm sorry, we're reading Open the Barn Door.
Oh, baby.
Oh, wow.
See, you got all the you get all your buddies here.
Hey.
Hello.
She loves Zoom meetings sometimes, but now she's
Sometimes.
gonna get shy. There goes the
course.
thumb. So
What,
this
a
is
little over 2 year in the two.
just yeah, she turned 2 the end of January.
Okay.
So she January 31st, but yeah, she's my my one local grandchild.
special one. The
Yeah,
special
of
one.
course. So she
And
hangs out with us on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Are you
So,
babysitting today? Is that what you're doing?
Janet's right here off
I got
camera.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
She's she spends the nights on Tuesday nights. So
Ooh,
Wow.
very special. We do that
Well-
sometimes with Mimi and Grandpa, but Bob,
Yep.
I don't know if Bob can handle my kid.
well, Janet's really good at it.
Oh,
There's
look.
Mimo. This is Mimo. You gotta have your mermaid.
Mimo. Oh,
Hey,
Mimo, yeah.
Mhm.
So well,
Second
thank you,
time.
Hazel.
Oh, special Mimo.
what did when growing up, my kids, our middle daughter Lauren had
Was it?
it was
I can't remember the name
a
of it.
dolly just like that, and I don't remember the name of it.
Smoochy.
Smoochie. That's
Smoochie.
right.
Smoochie. Ooh.
Smoochie returns.
Little rag
Yes,
doll.
this is Mimo. Mimo's actually she's a mermaid.
Oh,
And there's actually
Well, of
3 of
course.
these. There's one at our house, one at the other grandparents' house, and one at her house. She's like Santa. She thinks there's just one.
one. They
Yeah.
go.
But
they
it's just
travel with it.
always
As
Travel.
long as it stays, yeah, no, that's
That's-
clutch.
you don't have
That age,
yeah.
you
You
gotta have
always you got to make sure you know where Mimo is at all times.
That's
so
funny.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you
Okay.
all. Appreciate it.
All right.
Everything.
We'll see
All
you
right.
later.
See you next
See y'all.
week.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Greg, do we need to talk?
I'll get the info. Just send me the info for your guy.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do.
All right.
I'll send you 2 names.
Ending the
All right.
meeting. Okay, guys.
See y'all.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.